at here, Raz, because we are into Champions League for that third match. What do Young Miracles need to do here? Because it's do or die now. It's their last chance to fight back and try and find that final spot in the 2017 spring split of the LPL.
All you can do at this point is go back, take what's comfortable for you, right? They've done it in the last couple games. They did it in Game 1, they did it in Game 2. Add some real power in your laning phase. They did it in Game 1, and at least they got that level 1, right, going for them. But at this point, you need to start protecting your strength, and that comes down to Ming and Ning. Protect them at all costs. I know Cloud is a great player. I know Viper is a great player. I want to see Viper pick up that Twisted Fate. And I'm going back towards what champions, right? But at this point, I feel like it doesn't matter what composition Young Miracles can get. They just have to play better as a team if they want to at least take one tower.
Well, let's see if they can play better as a team here, because they are in that third match. We're already flying through Champion Select, Raz. Maokai, LeBlanc, and Gangplank are the three lanes that Young Miracles have taken off of the Rift. Braum, Talia, as well as Hecarim taken away by OMG. So it's very small changes from the side of our Young Miracles. But Rek'Sai was their first pick. It was followed up by their bottom lane of Ezreal and Alistar, whereas OMG have almost completed their team comp. They went for the Thresh as well as the Jhin. They're going to be picking up the jungle Graves again, and they have the Poppy once more for OMG. They're looking like to pick up the exact same team comp they used to win in game number 2. But hang on. That's a Renekton being locked in for Clouds up in the top lane.
Hey, what I said, go back towards your strong laning points. Now, I know that you have an Ezreal, Alistar going up against Jhin, Thresh, so that's not really that strong. Their laning is going to be fine. It just comes back to the point that Ming and Ning, doesn't matter what poor matchups they have, theoretically, because this is not that bad of a matchup, but primarily, they're going to be scaling up. And so with the Renekton pick, going up against Poppy, that's a lot of power.
And then once again, they pick up the Vladimir, a champion that OMG have ignored throughout pick and ban this entire series. And they have saved their mid lane pick for last. So let's see what OMG wants to throw into the mid lane against this Vlad, which we will see Viper pick up. And it seems like they're going back to the Malzahar for Icon.
Now, with that being said, both teams getting comfort, but with that being said, OMG got everything they wanted as well, right? They have an amazing bottom lane that they've really called their own. Jhin, Thresher, that's just staple strength in the bottom lane. But once again, SMLZ is an amazing Jhin player. 5 is a Thresh player that just gets banned out for that Thresh,
yes,
right? And they were given those champions once again. The Malzahar gave them a lot of strength in the last game as well, game 1, I believe, where Icon, when he took out that Malzahar, he outplayed Viper on that Vlad. We saw it before. And then you give Xiang Poppy, you give Joy Graves, and my God, we're looking for a 3-peat. But can Young Miracles at the very least reset their mindset and take this seriously?
Which is really what they could be looking to try and do. And it just speaks numbers to the fact that this is a crucial match for Young Miracles, but still OMG are getting these big picks. Yeah. Like 5's Thresh, a champion that's constantly banned out against him. But, like you mentioned, Young Miracles going back to a little bit more comfort themselves here in this third match. Let's see if they can try and take it back against OMG as we head into Summoner's Rift for the third game between Young Miracles and OMG. And we're on to Summoner's Rift for the third match here between Young Miracles and OMG. It is a best-of-5 series, and both teams here are fighting for one of the last 2 spots heading back into the LPL for the 2017 Spring Split. Young Miracles coming out from the LPL as the second seed have already tasted defeat once, and that was against Newbie Young in their first match to try and get that auto qualification into the LPL. Now they're up against the last seed from the LPL, who is also fighting for the right to head back into the lead in the promotion relegation tournament. And things have looked great for OMG so far.
Ooh.
This time around, though, Young Miracles, Raz, they picked a little bit stronger for their lanes, especially with a Renekton coming out. You know, they do have the Rek'Sai in the jungle. Vladimir's coming back again. It only really feels like it's the bottom lane that's a little bit of a weak point, but that's Ning and Ming who have been known to be strong laners and strong players themselves.
Yeah, and Ezreal, Alistar in that lane, not so bad since, of course, you can layer the poke, and the all-ins are just fine. So the real question for me is now, how are they going to play it out once they do fall behind, if they do fall behind? But Jojo gets the Graves again. That's the real point for me.
However, as we just saw there, and what we've seen this entire series, OMG are in the lead. They're about 10 gold up at the moment. 5 in SMLZ, slight experience lead as well for taking down that ward.
Oh, yeah. They do give experience now.
But back to all seriousness, no, we are going to see standard lanes come out from these two teams again. It is 6.15 rads. We've said this almost every game, but we don't see any more lane swaps coming out from the teams. The turret fortification on the top side of the map is a little bit too strong for that, and the teams that have gone for lane swaps have been punished heavily. Looking at you, Aime. Don't do that again.
Yeah, I want to stop hearing that from you, though. I think at this point, we've seen enough to know that if you get into that lane swap, might be a sad point for you, especially if you're an LSPL team. Your lane swap might not be the best at all.
And it seems like it would benefit these LSPL teams, especially teams that come out from the LSPL, because they love their early laning phase. They love that early laning phase aggression. And look at laning phase aggression coming out from Clouds in the top lane. Seong forced to flash at level 1. Clouds being an aggressive Renekton here.
I don't know if that was aggressive. I think Seong played that aggressively. He was just, why do you walk up to your buckler like that?
You need the buckler res.
Don't you know that this is a bad matchup? Seong is a smart player, but he walks up to his buckler because he thought that he wouldn't take that hard of a trade for him, especially since A, the minions were there, but B, you're going up against a Doran's Blade Renekton. Watch out.
Something has to. Dredger in the meanwhile has been able to take down both his buffs, red buff and blue buff, picked up for Graves. Clouds continuing to be dominant on the top side of the map. It's 6 CS to 14. Almost double the Poppy's CS now. Mid lane, Icon doing exactly what he did in game number 1, which is just farming back and forth against this Vladimir.
He's actually playing it well where he just autos the minions, but he trades with his E. So the moment it becomes an annoyance for him, there we go.
That is not fun.
But yeah, the moment it becomes an annoyance for him in the lane, once he starts to get shoved in, sure, he's going to then use his E for the wave. But he's not being put in this position.
That's an interesting mechanic on the top side of the map because Clouds, has the slice and dice, so naturally Poppy's W should work well. But if you don't get that up in time, when the Renekton's trying to dice in there, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Seong actually being pressured out here. The Prey Seeker came across the top of the wall from Marilyn just to keep him underneath this turret. Dredger is nearby, so if he does get into a sticky situation, Poppy will have the backup of his jungler. And there they go. They slam on towards Marilyn. But very good play for Young Miracles. They recognize the aggression coming out from Seong. They decide, okay, back up, don't touch him. Big brother the turret will hurt me if I do. And they live to tell the tale.
One of the reasons you don't randomly use your Q as a Rek'Sai, you don't want to give away your position, especially since the wave is going to crash under that tower. You want the dive to go as planned. He did look to try and stop the back. That's the reason for it. Didn't want the back to complete. So I understand that mindset, but still, giving it away.
But at least we see Young Miracles 5 minutes into the game. They haven't fallen behind in any lane so far. Just very even laning phase. Although we do want to see more out of them in the early game because that's really where they're strong. At least they're not behind, which is two big reasons. It's just the biggest reason why in the 2 games we've seen already, OMG were able to steamroll so far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it came down to the fact that Young Miracles, even though they are great laners in both top lane and both mid lane and bottom lane, I think they picked themselves poor matchups, but at the same time, the jungle matchup is tilting the favors of lanes. Like, for instance, if you're going Lissandra against Syndra, if you have a bad jungle matchup, the Lissandra will have an awful time. And right now, Joy is in a good matchup all the same, so surprised that it hasn't gone as poorly as it has for Young Miracle right now, with lanes shoving in.
During that entire time, I was just watching to see where Dredger goes. He's made a circle around his blue buff res. Can't quite decide where he wants to go yet.
Go top lane, bot lane.
Put down a pink ward. The ping's coming out from 5. Seems like he wanted to lantern him into the lane like what they did in the first match.
Yeah.
But for now, he's just waiting in the mid lane, seeing if he can help Icon out. Icon is level 6, and that's really where we start to see him turn on the pressure as this Malzahar. Instead, though, He's still making laps around this blue buff camp. Finally, we'll see the Scuttle Crab has spawned. He's trying to juggle it so he doesn't get into vision of the bottom lane, so they don't quite know where he is.
It's smart because he doesn't have anything on the top side of the map, and mostly he does want to be where the pressure is, and that's going to be in the bot side and mid lane. So he's even walking into the mid lane to just shove it in.
Because again, there's that pressure coming out from Cloud. Seong not quick enough to turn on the W to stop the slice and dice coming out from Renekton. Now he might actually just get zoned away from his turret. This time round, he does not have his jungler help him out. Clouds has a minion wave as well, so he can double dash on over towards this Poppy if they need him to. Goes in this time around, does get the W up.
He's taking a lot of damage from the minions.
And does knock him back. Dredger makes his way towards the top side of the map as well, but damage has been done. Clouds denies a lot of minions away from the Poppy.
Still, Seong played it safely, played it well, able to come back to the wave anyways. So a lot of this time that Maryland is using for this lane is not really working out for him. It's not fairly efficient. Graves is still farming up, and he tapped towards topside when Seong needed it, and that's really all he needs to do. He's just creating pressure or presence in the bot side and in the mid lane, all the while Maryland is trying so hard to make this pick work topside.
And you're Poppy as well, Raz. I mean, you weathered the storm against a Renekton for the first 20 minutes in the match, and you're still going to be this huge tank that not even Renekton will be able to deal with later on in the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, right now he's about 10 CS behind. But with that being said, if he's going to still end up getting his items up against a Renekton who's he's going to build up damage. He has his long swords. Perhaps he goes towards his Black Cleaver, Yomu's Glowblade. I'm not too sure. There's a lot of variations to the build at this point.
It's kind of like what people used to say about Tristana lanes. You come out of laning phase and you're 10 CS down. That's a win. If Poppy can come out of laning phase and say, the only thing that really happened here was I was 10 CS down, that's a pretty good win for Seong. As Clouds does face check him and wants to shove this wave on towards his turret. Seong trying to see if he can get a cheeky back in while manipulating the lane to freeze in his favor.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. If Tristana comes out of any lane, there is no win for Tristana. Like, what is... I hate that champion.
That's why you used to, Raz.
Yeah. The old Tristana where the range meant something, the items meant something. There's a lot of meaning there.
What are you talking about? We got Gwynsu's Rage Blade.
Get me out of here.
Fine, so looking to try and stop Maryland and taking blue buff away. He's been exhausted and chunked out. Flash hook does not connect for 5. And the last few shots of the ultimate coming out from SMLZ only land on towards Ming, who takes a lot of damage. He'll be the sacrificial land. First blood does get picked up by Icon.
Yeah, first blood gold, and it really just came back to the point that Icon roaming fairly well every game.
Seong being very aggressive here against Clouds. Does have his teleport to get back into this lane, but Renekton does have the dominus as well.
He tried.
Okay.
He tried.
Yeah, that was aggressive, Churchill. Fires the Q in the wrong direction.
I'll give him the golden star.
I give him, A for effort. C on execution there, though.
Yeah. But right now,
but
Poppy,
at least, OMG and Young Miracles, they're even. 13,000 gold each. They're not falling behind, and they've made it to 10 minutes into this match without falling to OMG. Just first blood going their way, but because of the CS differences they have in top and middle, they're still looking fine so far.
See, the sad point is that we're giving them a pat on the back for just being even in 9 minutes into the game, right? They're so mismatched at this point. The Young Miracles really just need a miracle to happen, right?
Which is why it really feels that way, because the last 2 games have been, in all honesty, one-sided going in OMG's favor. They were very dominant in those games. So being able to stay even here is great for Young Miracles, but just not enough maybe as Icon. Looking to lock down Viper, does have Marilyn coming into this mid lane. There's a big chunk of damage coming out from Dredger after Icon locks down the mid lane Vladimir. It seems like deja vu, back to game number 1, Raz.
Yeah, and it's a team game at the end of the day. Doesn't matter if you're in standard lanes whatsoever.
Hello. Woo! That's aggressive. Preyseeker comes out. The Smite will come out as well, but Marilyn doesn't get the kill, but still forces the Summoner spell out of the Malzahar, who's being a little bit greedy there.
Yeah, a little bit. But as I said, the greed, that entire play really comes back to the point of just team play, right? So even Xiang levying his TP, walking or just having that presence there, the state of mind to say, if you stay too long in this fight, we will win at the end of the day. So they're bringing in just about everybody to commit to these skirmishes, to commit to these plays. So OMG, always as a unit, doesn't matter if they're in these laning phase, in these lanes, they play as a team.
For now, though, OMG just taking a back seat.
Treasury always here at the right time.
He's been partying fairly well in this Grace in all 3 games, making sure that if Maryland's on one side of the map, he's there as well. If Maryland's on the other side of the map and he's not there, he's going to be killing someone, Raz.
Yeah, he's playing it or pathing in a way that, yeah, he's going to be topside when the wave crashes. So that's in Xiang's most vulnerable state, but he's barely top. He's always usually hanging around the bot to mid side, where the strongest pressure is, where that's the play that's going to happen. Right now, he's helping out Xiang when he needs it.
You can already see, despite the 30 CS lead that Clouds has, slowly Xiang's been able to trade a little bit more effectively against this Renekton.
You might be able to see a roam coming in from Viper.
Yeah, he wants to move towards the top side of the map here. Treasure even being very careful, trying to stay as far away from that top lane out to the turret. Xiang is going to get jumped on. Good ultimate comes out from the Poppy to knock him back. Now Viper needs to be careful because Treasure has showed up and coming out of the brush that he was hiding in. Young Miracles will use this time to push through the top lane out of turret, but Icon is moving towards the bottom lane.
Yeah, and you have to believe right now this is going to be a bigger play for OMG.
They look for it. Rek'Sai has to use the ultimate to try and tunnel back down to the bottom lane. So actually a very good map rotation from Young Miracles. They get a trade on the top side of the map, taking down the first structure, getting the first structure gold as well, and immediately use the Rek'Sai ultimate to make sure they're on the bottom side to protect the bottom lane from Icon's dive.
Check that off the list. Able to get the first tower in the series right now.
That's good.
So that's a good start. And they, on top of that, because of that, they have the gold lead.
They certainly do, as they look to try and contest for the Ocean Dragon. OMG have a lot of Voidlings there trying to deal damage. Retro gets the smite off. Now he's just running on to the other side of the pit. Pops the ultimate, jumps over the wall, but he's in Young Miracles territory. Clouds is chasing on top of him. We'll be able to lock him down. Ming follows through and gets the kill. The rest of OMG got to be careful because Hammer Plague's being dropped. Icon locks down Marilyn, but at what cost? Because the Hammer Plague will pop and get him incredibly low. Now it's Sion that's moving in towards the pit. SMLZ flashes over, trying to get a kill. Doesn't get it. Dark Passage will save him.
Oh.
It's suddenly Clouds. He's gone into the back lines. Gets a big pulverize coming out from Ming. Ning shifts over the wall. Gets a kill. Looking for more. Clouds will spin around in circles, trying to get even more as the Renekton. Sion though,
Back and forth.
Left untouched. We'll get jumped on. We'll have to flash away, but still, it's a good trade going in favor of Young Miracles.
That's what they needed. They needed that boost. They 100% needed that in the series. And so once again, right now, just look at the damage here. So right now, Ming and Ning really made that fight going for them. Sure, of course, you're Alistar. The fact that he outdamaged both the jungler and the top laner in that entire fight shows how often his cooldowns were up, able to get the head buff pulverizes, multiple ones, stomped the ground, and made it known that right now, Young Miracles finally in the lead, 2k gold up.
And off to a good start already here. 2,000 gold up. They have 1 turret to none. The only thing OMG really got off of that fight was the dragon. And even then, it was just Dredger sacrificing his life to secure that objective. They weren't able to take it down in time. Icon now, he's just been jumped on this. 3 members in his mid lane.
Ooh.
Poor positioning coming out from OMG's mid laner, but a good capitalization from Young Miracles to take him down.
Yeah, they're finally getting into it now.
Ooh. Clouds just takes away the Scuttle Crab, says, "Thank you very much, Xiang. I will take your health, your mana, as well as your assistance."
But it's far from over. OMG were able to trade out fairly nicely.
But this is a lot better from Young Miracles. We saw last game, they get a pick. Okay,
Yeah.
we get 300 gold. Well, let's go back to base. Let's go reset. Now Young Miracles, they get a pick. Marilyn's moved over towards the blue buff. He's trying to take this one away. Will actually be taken away by the True Shot Barrage coming in from Ezreal too.
It's going to be a lot better for his lane too. Able to spam out his abilities because he does have his tier rolling for himself.
So at least they're getting objectives. Every time they take one of these picks, they move on, get an objective for themselves, and then casually move back into the laning phase. Again, 3,000 gold up, or close to 3,000 gold up. So already very strong start for Young Miracles. They look to try and fight back in this best of 5 series, but OMG not out yet. They've already shown how dominant they can be in the past 2 games.
Yeah. OMG have shown what they can do with a lead. They've shown what they can do when they're even. Now we're going to see what they can do when they are behind at this point.
And it seems like both teams will be heading in to farm up once more. Top side of the map, it still is the Renekton that is fairly strong now. He'll be heading back up there. Has the Tiamat looking for the Black Cleaver. That's his next item as well.
Yep.
40 CS ahead of the Poppy. Poppy's still looking for that Sunfire Cave. Xiang has still been a big force to be reckoned with in these team fights. Just one-on-one against this Renekton, a little bit hard, slowly going back in his favor since he does have the Rift Herald buff as well. Marilyn gonna get locked down underneath the turret, but doesn't take any damage. Icon gets a good flash over the wall to get back to safety. He's been using his ultimates defensively very effectively in this entire series.
Yeah, so he's been getting a lot of focus right now in this series, but he's able to always push them back, which does mean a lot. Sure, now he does not have his flash. Sure, now he does not have his ulti, so they can't really make an offensive play with Icon, which is great for Young Miracles because that means that their bot lane is a lot more, in a lot of better of a position. But with that being said, OMG able to cut certain losses, especially since they're behind off that early skirmish in the Dragon.
As Viper takes down the blue buff for himself, donated by Marilyn. Neither really need it, but more effective on the Vladimir.
Yeah.
Seong still going toe-to-toe against Clouds here. He's been doing well so far. The Renekton, only with the Tiamat, doesn't have much regeneration outside of his Q. Dredger is waiting on the top side of the map, waiting for him to jump in. There's the slice and dice being used. Dominus gets popped, but the Poppy is taking a lot of damage. Now he's on top of Dredger, forced to use the collateral damage. Renekton's low, Dredger flashes in. He's got no more bullets! And Cloud just turns around and slaps him with his blade, heals up as well. Marilyn throws out the Prey Seeker and finds his prey. A double kill for Young Miracles on the top side of the map.
Now they have control of the game. This is what they really needed. Before, I was a little iffy. OMG could easily have come back into the game, but now that Renekton has 2 kills to his name, a lot of damage going for him, Xiang has no way of coming back into this matchup unless if it's off the back of a bot lane play for themselves.
Yeah, he's 60 CS behind at the moment, Raz. A big deficit, even though he is up against a Renekton, who was expected to be ahead. We said 10 CS is a win, 60 CS is not, Raz. As there's the teleport being used by Xiang, trying to defend the mid lane outer turret. That is incredibly low and will eventually fall down for OMG. In fact, they rotate Icon to the top side of the map. They want him to farm up against this Renekton. They no longer want the Poppy to be anywhere near the Crocodile.
Oh, you cannot stop it. Yeah, maybe perhaps you can stop it and help out Xiang. But especially since you have SMLZ on the Jhin in the bottom side of this map, and Icon right now, sure, Icon, he was trying to get as much damage as possible to try and stop the brunt off of the bruisers of Young Miracles. Anyone who tries to dive in. Last time he was Klaus is on Gnar. Every time he tried to dive in, he was deleted. But now he's at a point where he should be able to deal so much damage. I'm not too sure if they even want to force a single auto attack on him. So at this point, OMG, they need to recollect, try and figure out how they can get back into this game, and it's off the back of SMLZ roaming towards the mid lane and looking for a play.
How are you going to be able to do that? Because if Clouds gets on top of SMLZ, that's a dead Jhin. Not going to lie.
Yeah, as long as Xiang is able to pin down where Clouds is, which is in the top lane right now. Sure, he has TP, but if they can get the first play going onto Viper, that's what they want.
The good old ignore the Renekton strategy. As Viper does get locked down, those are so many angry Voidlings just chipping away at this Vladimir, forced to use the Sanguine Pool to get away. And slowly, Dalstar moves towards mid lane. Ghost immediately being used by the Malzahar. But here is Clouds, locks him down, just spins around in circles and does his best Garen impersonation to pick up a kill and goes on a killing spree. 7-3, Young Miracles bouncing back in game number 3, looking a lot stronger. And they're looking to continue doing just that. But SMLC does get another good Dark Passage from 5 to get back to safety.
This is a much better performance coming out of actually Marilyn. Marilyn, while this play was happening mid lane where Icon was putting so much damage down on Viper, Marilyn zoned out Jhin and Thresh entirely, who were roaming mid to look to kill that Vladimir. He was not able to help out in the play, and on top of that, because Viper was alive, Icon was under threat then.
Now Young Miracles are the one that are 6,000 gold in the lead. So strong in this third match, and it's just a contrasting difference between game 1 and game number 2. Game 1, 2, and now game number 3. As Young Miracles really showing what they're made of against OMG and putting up a good fight this time round, not being the whitewash that we expected after those first 2 games, and proving themselves that they still have a chance to try and qualify for the LPL next year.
Yeah, not only do they have the stronger lanes now, or at least a much better laning phase for Clouds, they're playing better, it's showing. And on top of that, they're playing as a team. So now, on top of that, they're roaming together, making it work for themselves. Game 1 for them was not as bad as it could have been. Game 1, I saw some great plays coming out of them. That TP flank on the top side, which shows that they have the idea. It just came down to execution, and it seems like they're starting to execute.
Let's see what they decide to take down next. We are 21 minutes into the game. 2 Ocean Dragons have been taken down so far. 1 to Young Miracle, 1 to OMG. That does mean the Baron's up as well. As Viper finds SMLZ. That's half his health bar gone. We'll be able to flash over the wall, but just followed through by Viper. But suddenly, hello, I'm 5. I've got a dark passage for you, SMLZ. You come back to safety.
That was great.
He's got no health, Raz. But top side of the map, Jojo doesn't have a dark passage to get him safe. Clouds is just BMing him now. Do they give this to Ning? They give it over towards the Ezreal. That is great for Young Miracles across the map making plays.
Yeah, it's coming back. They're coming back in this series. It's a Young Miracle, if I do say so myself.
It's not a Young Miracle, Raz. We're already 3 games in. It's a little bit old now.
It's an old miracle.
It's a late miracle, to say the least. It's Young Miracles now getting jumped on by the curtain call. Good flash from Clouds. Death Center's not going to connect from 5. That was very close, but not enough. A big play coming out from Siyoung, though, as he does get the lockdown and the shutdown onto Renekton. Now it's going to be Ning that does get locked down by Icon. Has his shield available to negate any crowd control that comes out. The Voidlings, they are angry and chasing him. Aggressive Voidlings pick up that kill, as now it's Ming who has to run for the hills, but he can't get too far because Deadly Flourish will help him pick up the double kill. And Spawn was right, Raz. Those Voidlings are scary, and suddenly, OMG, they're on Baron buff.
And they have a Malzahar for it. That's a lot of damage, and no way to really... There's no damage being taken by them. So this is really scary.
They've got Marilyn. He's going to see if he can get a steal done here. Tre waiting in the back of the pit. He has his smite available. They've just got to try and stop the Rek'Sai from getting in. We saw Condi, Son of Baron do it yesterday. Can Marilyn do it here? It's low. Gets smited. Gets taken by Tre. Very close coming up from Young Miracles, but it's not enough. Suddenly, though, there's 2 members of Young Miracles in the pick. Everyone from OMG is just getting taken down. They're going so low. Viper's chasing in. He's on top of Icon. The Voidlings are still angry. True shot barrage for the snipe from downtown. Siyoung, the last member left from OMG. Can he get there? He does. And 5, once again, gets the Dark Passage to save the final member from the side of OMG, but still, big team fight coming out from Young Miracles.
That was such a good cleanup by Young Miracles. But with that being said, OMG secure Baron on at least 1 member. Perhaps 2.
Let's see if they can do any more here, because Young Miracles, they're just going to keep pushing through. They've got 6,000 gold up at the moment. Now 7,000 with this turret falling. They've got Baron buff, Raz, but OMG, they're just hanging by a thread.
Yeah, they really are. And the question is, what are they even going to be able to do with this Baron buff? Because they did lose a lot to get it. So now if they have it, what can they gain?
Especially with Ning now picking up his Quicksilver Sash. Means that Malzahar locks him down. Sure thing, buddy. I've got my QSS. I'm nice and good. I'll just shift out of here.
Yeah, that comeback fight from OMG to put them in position to look for that Baron was great.
They got a hook. Decide not to go in any further. Headbutt's not going to connect due to the W coming out from the Poppy.
But yeah, that comeback fight was amazing from OMG. Like, that was great from them. And the fact that they were able to do that with the gold disadvantage that they had is really impressive. But with that being said, the fact that they got the Baron, but on top of that, they lost so much for it.
Tell you what, it's a negative Baron power play coming out, Raz. Young Miracles are just getting slowly further and further ahead against OMG. But again, like we said, game 1 and 2, they were whitewashers. After this game, if Young Miracles pick up a win, we can now say, okay, they're back in, because they're winning the game the same way that OMG have won.
Yeah.
Which means it just seems like these 2 teams are a little bit more evenly matched than we expected. Just both very dominant when they do get their victories. As Siyoung almost does get jumped on here. Icon now stuck between a rock and a hard place. Clouds jumps on top of him. Will get locked down by the hook. Ultimate came out from Siyoung to knock the Rek'Sai away. But he will go straight back in towards the blue buff. Give that one over towards Ning.
It's a little more of an interesting situation. When OMG had the lead, they were able to clean it out by just playing patiently, playing a much more tempered game. Young Miracles right now, they're skirmishing as much as possible. Their leads that they are attaining, the gold that they're getting is primarily coming off of these kills. 12 kills going for them. And sure, they're playing aggressively right now, and they're going for a lot of denial in these camps.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, it seems like they're trying to take as many fights as possible since they have that advantage. Something much different than OMG.
They certainly are. Young Miracles still capitalizing on them very effectively. Dragons coming up in 20 seconds. OMG just... Now they're the team that are in Young Miracles' position last 2 games. They want to sit back. They want to relax. They want 30,000 gold. 30,000 gold more. And then they might want to fight, Raz.
Yeah, and the question is now more so on their mental, because at this point, yeah, you just need that one more game to close it out. Come back into the LPL, right? They're relaxing. And now, go on.
Positive mental attitude, Raz. That's what you really need here.
Exactly. And so now, after losing this, they must be really questioning what happened. What went wrong? Are they really that good of a team? A lot of questions coming through. Something that they should not ask themselves. Shrug it off.
For now, we can check in with the big items that OMG have picked up to see when they're really going to be able to try and take it to Young Miracles. Top side of the map, Xiang working on his magic resistance item, does have his Iceborne Gauntlet as well as the Sunfire Cape. He's trying to take down the top lane out of turret for his team. Graves has gone for armor penetration to go with his Warriors enchantment as well as the Phantom Density picked up previously. Icon, he's at his Rylai's Crystal Scepter as well as the Morello Nomicon, so we'll be able to deal with Viper fairly efficiently, but does need some form of magic penetration soon. And we can even see Jin deviating from his regular build path to pick up... can't quite get it. Executioner's calling there, just to deal even more damage to the healing reduction that will be placed on towards Young Miracles' side. So they still kind of need 1 or 2 more items each, because you take a look at the flip side of the rift, Viper's massive. He's got a Spirit Visage, Hextech Protobelt as well as the Rabadon's Death Cap picked up. Big items for the Renekton. He's had his 2 damage items now going complete tanky. You can see Ezreal already picked up the Blade of the Ruined King as well. Also has that QSS in case he gets into trouble.
So yeah, right now Ning is doing I guess all of them are doing a lot of damage, an incredible amount.
Whew.
Even the Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai has the nice Titanic build going with his Cinder Hulk, so right now you cannot leave him alone with SMLZ. SMLZ feels so threatened by just about every single person on the map.
SMLZ does go back to base, picks up the last Whisper, an item he desperately needed against the huge front line that Young Miracles have. Xiang is trying to wave clear. That's something that OMG definitely lack here. Wave clears, they do lock down Viper. They want to fight. Xiang slams him into a wall. The silence only lands onto other members of Young Miracle. And they tried to fight while Renekton was in the top side of the map, but they can't lock anyone down, Raz. And they may just lose this mid lane out of turret for it.
Yeah, they were trying to see if they can get any openings for that Jin ulti, for that curtain calls. But unfortunately, they recognized that if he had used curtain calls, nothing would have happened. They would have just simply put it on cooldown, and now they're going to have to give up this tower.
Marilyn does get locked down. Duskblade does a lot of damage. Xiang's on top of Clouds. They're looking for a fight. Ultimate comes out from Poppy, but Slice and Dice gets him away. Curtical going to land. There's the hook on towards Ning. Has to use his ultimate. Everyone in Young Miracles are low, but they're going for a fight in close quarters. Ming, very low. Viper's already got 1 kill. The double comes out as Clouds takes down the support. Viper's a huge beast. He's inside of OMG's base, going toe-to-toe against the AD carry. Double kill coming out for Viper. He wants the triple. Xiang's been locked down by the Alistar. Clouds is now over the wall. Everyone from Young Miracles is inside of OMG's base. Welcome to my house, says Young Miracles as they fight back in game number 3.
No one died on the side of Young Miracles, and they're going in to answer OMG. OMG now are the team that didn't take a single tower.
They certainly have not. The only thing they got in these games are a couple of kills and a Baron buff. But Young Miracles are on the Nexus turret. They take down 1. Cooldown timers, or death timers to say from OMG, a little bit too long here as the turret does fall. 5 comes in. He's been saving people, but he can't quite save this Nexus as Young Miracles take us to game number 4.
Yeah, down goes the turret, and still, Young Miracles' dream is still alive. I don't want to keep throwing that pun out, but can it be a miracle?
Yep, put on your best TWE impersonation, Young Miracles, because you need to keep your dreams right now. It's 2-1, and you have a game coming up next to see if we can take it to 2-2 and find that reverse sweep. But it's night and day, Raz. Games 1 and 2, that was OMG just showing up to Summoner's Rift. Game number 3, Young Miracles like, yeah, we can do the exact same thing, and they do just that.
Exactly. And so it just came down to the fact that they needed to take a step back. It didn't come down to pick and bans, even though there were some criticisms. It just came back to shifting your mindset, playing a lot more calm, and that's exactly what they did.
And Foscarin and I had a big conversation about this yesterday, Raz. You know, when you go into these best-of-5 series and you're down and you've been losing constantly and you just don't know quite what to do, go back to those comfort picks. I mean, Clouds on this Renekton looked great. Not that big of a meta champion, but still a very strong champion that you use effectively in this game. Ezreal Alistar coming out, that was beautiful coming out from Ning and Ming. The headbutt pulverize combos were great too. And you just have the Viper picking up the Vladimir again. He was a force to be reckoned with. And it seems like these comfort picks coming out from Young Miracles did incredibly well in this match.
I mean, as I said earlier, it didn't really matter about the picks. They had the comfort in the first 2 games with those picks. They got what they wanted. And so what really just needed to happen was just relax, get that stage experience, because game 1, they had the early lead. Level 1 from that point. Sivir was in such a poor position. And then look at this game. They're finally in a position where, yeah, as you said, they're not at a massive deficit early, right? Not actually, they actually have an opportunity to do something off the laning phase. And so once they got off the foot, they were able to start to impact the rest of the lanes.
Certainly were, but it was Young Miracles who do pick up the win in that 3rd match of this best-of-5 series. Trying to keep their hopes and dreams alive, Raz, because this is one of the 2 best-of-5 games we have today that determines who gets the last 2 spots heading into the LPL Spring 2017 season. Young Miracles, they're trying to fight back. OMG, they've looked strong, they've looked dominant. They want to try and put their historical organization back into the LPL. They still have to win one more game to do just that, though.
Yeah, they got to wipe that one drop of sweat that was just coming down, because honestly, after that game, you have to feel it, right? OMG let their force be known in the first 2 games, letting this team take 0 towers, and now Young Miracles answered back.
Now it's a question to see if Young Miracles can find that reverse sweep, because they still are alive in this series. We'll be back after a very quick break.